Yeah. Live and direct, coming on the airwaves. The realest talk, making brand new waves. It's I Hate the News, cutting through the haze. Hosted by Explicit for these brand new.
Welcome to I Hate the News, featuring Explicit, where politics, entertainment, arts, and sports report to the same crime scene every weekend.
Static break. Explicit voice of America, for goodness sake. From the sunrise to the city shakes. This the frequency, make no mistake.
The sun is up and the news is drunk, y'all. FIFA tried to put part of the world's game on the private equity auction block. The Grammys built BTS a side entrance nobody asked for. And a 13-year corporate trespass became respectable once enough people depended on it. We take the week apart, laugh where laughter is medically necessary, and figure out who pulled what before Monday comes around. Before we start, a little house cleaning. 4 videos are waiting in the YouTube pipeline. 2 are the concerns Nick Fuentes, and then there's Vosh. The title of that one is Keep Jasmine Crockett's Name Out Your Mouth. Then comes the video where I defend Kyle Kulinski and explain why he still owes Tabitha, a influencer, YouTuber, an apology. Now, the last one deals with the man trying to appoint himself custodian of Black Pain. That man is Vosh. And I have a few things to say about a slavery comment that he made. Now, each part of XVOA has a job. Substack serves as the newsroom and archive. And this podcast is built for your ears, and the reader's cut that will come from this carries the reporting and sources. YouTube becomes the confrontation room where facial expressions, interruptions, and timing carry part of the argument. Now, there is a listener check in the episode notes here. Where did you find this podcast? Apple Podcasts or iTunes, Substack, Spotify, YouTube, or somewhere else? And what country are you listening from? I want you to check out that poll and give me your answer. I'm also writing a historical novel called War After War, The Big Payback. It follows 3 children raised inside the same plantation order. One's enslaved, one's the planter's son, and one is a young woman forced to turn survival into strategy. Their lives carry us through the Civil War, Reconstruction, Wilmington, and America's longer war over memory. I opened a private XVO section called The Author's Room, where readers watch me build the novel 7 pages at a time. And be honest with you, there's some days that I only write 1 page or 1 paragraph. Some days get excerpts. Other days I take them behind. I take the readers behind the scenes while still protecting the manuscript. I capped this, founding group of Author's Room members at 38 people. 28 seats are occupied, 10 remain. Now, here is the short version of this news, this mess we have here. The White House reached into state-run elections. The courts kept bond hearings alive for many immigrants facing detention. The State Department built a visitor visa program that can demand $20,000 before deciding whether to let you in. Medicare found savings in somebody else's medicine cabinet. Enbridge lost the Bad River trespass argument, then one more time. In culture, 2 news archives may wind up under 1 corporate roof. BTS rejected the Grammy side door. BD SAR left us at 99. FIFA met the word no. Women athletes ask who controls the labor after the applause ends. That is the week that we have to take apart. Now, one more operating note before we do. As of this Saturday afternoon, we have $300 left to close the immediate XVOA gap. Paid subscriptions are the foundation because recurring support lets me plan beyond the next year's emergency. If you read XVOA for free, that is the number I need to see move. The coffee link is the backstop for paid readers and anybody avoiding another subscription. 60 people at $5 or 30 at 10 gets that $300 off the desk. The 5 ways they try to cuck us over. Way 1, the White House reaches into the election. On July 25th, the First Circuit refused to pause an injunction blocking major pieces of President Trump's March election under order while the appeal moves forward. 23 states and the District of Columbia brought the case. The block sections push federal agencies towards state citizenship lists and new mail ballot envelope rules. The government said the lawsuit came too early. The states were already spending money preparing, including on envelopes that could fail a new federal standard. The government acknowledged that its citizenship data would be incomplete. That is where the danger lives here. An incomplete Federalist enters wearing the costume of election integrity. Then an eligible voter has to prove the machine wrong before the database begins with more credibility than the citizen. The appeals court didn't settle every constitutional question. As we sit here Saturday, sections 2 and 3 remain blocked in the 23 states that sued, plus the District of Columbia. The federal elections through November 3rd. The administration has asked the Supreme Court to lift that injunction, and the court has not ruled. The president is reaching for Homeland Security, Justice, and the Postal Service because state and local control leaves election levers outside his grip. Here is way 2. The category tries to swallow the person. The Ninth Circuit preserved access to bond hearings for many immigrants arrested inside the country after entering without inspection. The hearing offers a chance at release, not a guarantee. The person has to show that they are neither dangerous nor likely to flee. Mandatory detention still applies in certain criminal and national security cases. For the people covered by this ruling, the administration wanted the immigration category itself to do most of the deciding. Without that hearing, family ties, actual conduct, and the person standing there all lose ground to the category at the top of the file. Bureaucracy loves a category, because a category never looks it in the eye. Way 3. America adds a cover charge. The State Department has finalized a permanent visa bond program scheduled to take effect Monday, August 3rd. Otherwise, eligible B1 and B2 applicants traveling on passport from 50 designated countries may have to post $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000. Most of those countries, of course, are in Africa. Paying only keeps the application alive, and state can still deny the visa. State compares 45,488 overstays from all relevant travelers in fiscal year 2024, with fewer than 50 among the much smaller bonded population during the pilot's opening 10 months. These numbers described dramatically different populations. The program reached close to 20,000 applicants. Nearly half declined to pay, while visa issuance from the listed countries fell 83%. Well, yes, put the doorknob $20,000 above the floor and fewer people will enter the room. For a wealthy traveler, the bond is an aggravation. For a teacher attending a graduation or a family trying to reach a funeral, the price can answer the application before the interview begins. The government never has to hang on Africans unwelcome sign when a country list and global inequality can enforce the message quietly. Wave 4. Washington opens the medicine cabinet. The administration announced that the temporary Medicare Part D subsidy program will end after 2026. Nearly 25 million people are enrolled in the standalone prescription drug plans covered by it. CMS Administrator Mehmet Oz says most increases will stay below $10 a month in 2027, while many people may pay less. KFF warns that some could face larger increases and exact plan premiums arrive in September. The transfer itself is visible as federal spending falls and premium risk moves toward seniors. Now, $10 sounds small in Washington. Across a year, beside food, utilities, and medical bills, it becomes another $120 somebody has to find. Washington records one large saving. Millions of people receive one small private invoice apiece. It's funny how the government always looks most efficient when it mails the cost somewhere else. Wave 5. Enbridge gets a grace period for trespass. The Seventh Circuit confirmed that Enbridge has been trespassing across 12 allotted parcels within the Bad River Reservation in northern Wisconsin. The Bad River Band of the Lake Superior tribe of Chippewa Indians holds ownership interests in those parcels. Enbridge's right of way expired in June of 2013. The company kept operating Line 5. Now, the band sued in 2019, and a federal judge imposed a June 2026 shutdown deadline. The appeals court affirmed the trespass, vacated the expired shutdown deadline, and sent the case back for a new injunction, giving Enbridge a reasonable opportunity to finish its proposed reroute. The new deadline has yet to be set. So the band has the property interest. Enbridge's permission expired 13 years ago. The court calls the continued operation a trespass. Yet the economic importance of that trespass earns the trespasser more time. Listen to Bad River Chairwoman Liz Arbuckle describe how close the reroute runs.
You know, they are just hugging our reservation. It's not like they went miles and miles away. It's literally a stone's throw from our land, our reservation boundaries. And that is going to stir up these mercury deposits that have been in our wetlands and go into our water and go into Lake Superior. You know, we already have mercury deposit warnings and can only eat one walleye a week or a month, depending on your age and gender. And that's problematic.
Now, that interview came before this week's ruling. It tells us what judicial patience means on the ground. This is one of America's oldest tricks on the Native American land here. Build first, extract until outsiders depend on it, then present native sovereignty as the disruption. Okay, the longer corporation violates a right, the more dependency it creates. The dependency comes back into the court wearing a suit and asking the judge for patience. America says property rights are sacred. Apparently, some have to wait for everybody else's convenience. And that concludes the 5 ways they tried to cuck us over. Before we walk into entertainment, I want to put one serious question before you. Where have you watched an institution confuse stewardship with ownership? Maybe it was government managing your vote, a corporation controlling culture it never created, a university claiming an athlete's body, or a workplace acting as though a paycheck buys your silence. Tell me what the institution claimed and what taking that power back would require. Go beyond "this is terrible." Okay? Show me the machinery in the comments. I will be reading over at explicit.com. Go ahead to XPLISSET.com and go to the comment section under this post. Now, let's walk into entertainment, where the scenery improves and the people remain just as trifling. Who owns the news archive? Paramount Skydance has agreed to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery pending regulatory clearance. The Archival Producers Alliance Documentary Film Council and International Documentary Association warned British officials that the deal could put the CBS News and CNN archives under one roof. CNN holds more than 4 million assets spanning 45 years. CBS holds about 85 years of wars, elections, protests, police violence, disasters, and presidential speeches. Licensing can be expensive and discretionary. A combined company could own the evidence, compete with the filmmaker who needs it, and set the price. An archive doesn't have to burn for history to disappear. It can simply become too expensive to quote. Live Nation sells more of the night. Live Nation reported $7.7 billion in quarterly revenue, while Ticketmaster remains inside the same system, promoting concerts, running venues, and selling tickets. When one corporate system controls more of the route between artists and audience, every fee begins to look like weather. Nobody appears to have caused it. Everybody just tells you to bring an umbrella and another credit card. Control the room, the ticket, and the route into the building, and you control far more than admission. BTS refuses the side door. All 7 members of BTS said they would skip submissions for the 2027 Grammy Awards after the Recording Academy created Best Asian Pop Music Performance. Asian artists remain eligible in general categories. The award still folds enormous musical traditions into one continental container, while Western pop remains simply pop. The Grammys built BTS a special entrance. BTS looked at it and said, "We were already coming through the front." Representation becomes a very pretty face when the institution builds another room and leaves the center exactly where it was. That is entertainment. The archive, the doorway, and an unwanted side entrance. Now to arts. Betty Saar died in Los Angeles last Sunday, July 26, at 99, 4 days before her 100th birthday. Saar was central to assemblage art and the Black arts movement. She worked with found objects, family memory, spiritual symbols, and racist commercial images America later tried to call nostalgia. Her best-known work, The Liberation of Aunt Jemima, was created in 1972. Saar took the mammy caricature built to make black servitude look warm and happy and armed her. Okay, here she is right here describing what she changed. Okay, that right there is shadow work in the deepest sense. She kept the ugly image in view and changed who possessed the power inside it. Those smiling caricatures taught white America to experience domination as affection. They turned black degradation into kitchen decoration. Saar made the decoration answer questions. MoMA acquired her Black Girls window in 2019 and mounted a focused exhibition when Saar was 93. The institution arrived late. Betty Saar spent nearly a century making America's racist junk testify against its owners. May her work remain armed. Sebastian enters the danger list. UNESCO added the historic center of Sebastia in the occupied West Bank to both the World Heritage List and the list of World Heritage in danger through an emergency procedure. The site carries layer upon layer of history. UNESCO cited planned exploration, a national park that could divide it, development pressure, erosion, and weak governance. When people fight over who belongs in a land, archaeology becomes a witness everybody wants to coach. Joyce Kozlov put her name back in the record. Kozlov revealed that she was one of the original 7 Guerrilla Girls. She worked under the alias Lyubov Popova and remained with the group until 1991. The Guerrilla Girls used masks, statistics, and public embarrassment to expose how museums praised universality while exhibiting a narrow slice of humanity. Movements eventually become tidy stories, and tidy stories misplace labor. Naming participation restores who built the pressure before an injunction turns that pressure into an anniversary panel. So that is arts. Racist memory testifying, ruins becoming political memory, and a name returning to the record. Now to sports. FIFA meets the word no. FIFA proposed moving major commercial and event operations into a subsidiary with a $20 billion implied valuation, then raising as much as $4.2 billion from minority, non-controlling investors. Smaller federations need money for fields, coaching, travel, and women's programs. Private investors need a return, okay? Charity didn't just wander into the meeting carrying a term sheet. So UEFA's 55 associations agreed to boycott FIFA competitions unless the proposal disappeared. CONCACF, I believe that's pronounced CONCACAF, and the Asian Football Federation joined them. Together they represent 143 of FIFA's 211 associations. Late Friday, FIFA president Gianni Infantino withdrew the plan. By Saturday, UEFA and FIFA's current leadership had lost its confidence, while CONCACAF, hope I'm pronouncing that right, CONCACAF, CONCACAF, called for a comprehensive reckoning with the presidency. They stopped the sale. FIFA opened a private equity PowerPoint, and the football world said, close the laptop. Oregon State's women asked for a chair. Members of the Oregon State women's basketball team filed a union representation petition through the United College Athletes Association. UCAA calls this a landmark unionization effort in women's college sports. Front Office Sports says no previous college athlete petition relied entirely on state public sector labor law. It remains a petition. The state board has not certified a union, and there is no contract. They are just testing whether state labor law can give them a voice over pay, health, safety, and scheduling. College sport has spent decades inviting athletes onto the stage while hiding the bargaining table backstage. Oregon State's women are asking somebody to bring out a chair. The product has a body. Last Saturday's WNBA All-Star Game packed 19,783 people into the United Center, a league record for the event. By Tuesday, the regular season had resumed. Caitlin Clark, Brianna Stewart, and Union President Nika Ogwumike, hope I'm pronouncing that right, raised the same problem. The All-Star break gives everybody a break except its stars. Compensation improved under the new contract. recovery remains a labor issue because higher pay doesn't make the body renewable. Black women are welcome as exceptional, durable, profitable, and exhausted, with the exhaustion itself treated as evidence of commitment. League growth still depends on somebody scheduling the body producing it. That is the question the players are forcing into the open here. What killed our patience this week was the way institutions kept confusing stewardship with ownership. The White House reached toward election administration as immigration enforcement reached for detention without individual review. Elsewhere, the State Department turned nationality into a wealth test. Medicare moved public savings toward household bills, and Enbridge turned a long trespass into an argument for more time. In culture, corporations reached for archives, ticketing routes, categories, and the right to decide which doorway counts as the center. FIFA tried to financialize the world's game. Women athletes asked for authority over the conditions producing the spectacle. They look separate because somebody has to organize the website. The same habits travel through all four. It wants the list, sell, border, land, archive, ticket, category, and athlete's time, then calls that normal management. Proof of life appeared as states went to court and detained immigrants litigate the right to be judged as individuals. Native leaders asserted a property right the outside economy wants to treat as negotiable. BTS declined the side door. Football associations stopped FIFA, and women athletes organized. Betty Saar left us a lifetime of instruction. When a culture hands you an image meant to contain you, open the box, expose the machinery, and rearrange who is holding the weapon. That is why the name of this show fits. Every week, the news asks us to experience power as weather. We put the departments in one building so we can see who keeps touching the thermostat. Now, the Reader's Cut carries the legal history, sources, fuller numbers, and everything I compressed for this broadcast. You can read it without pressing play and still receive the argument. But before you leave, answer the grand question. Where have you watched stewardship become ownership, and what would taking that power back require? Answer the listener check too. I want to know if Apple Podcasts or iTunes, Substack, Spotify, YouTube, or somewhere else, where are you listening? And what country are you listening from? Paid subscriptions keep XVOA, Explicit Voice of America, alive. The subscription link and the coffee link, that's a backstop. Those are in the notes. $300 remains in the immediate gap. Okay, so to the paid readers and everybody who put something in the jar, thank you. Thank you. You bought the time to connect these stories instead of calling 14 headlines analysis. And this has been your Saturday Cultural Autopsy featuring Explicit. We will report back to the same crime scene, so to speak, next weekend, or maybe earlier. One thing I know for sure, I hate the news, but I feel a little better now. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I will see you next week.
Explicit voice of America, for goodness sake. From the sunrise